So today I will be tackled a new lesson about historico-legal foundation of education during Renaissance period and modern contemporary period. To those who don't know me, so I am Mariela Cabal Aurelius of Bachelor in Elementary Education, second year. Let's start!
Historico-legal foundation of education, Renaissance period.
The Renaissance was a fervent period of European cultural, artistic, political, and economics rebirth following the Middle Ages. Generally described as taking place from the 14th century to the 17th century, the Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy.
Education during Renaissance. Classical studies. Renaissance humanists studied the literature of ancient Greece and Rome, believing that these classical works represented the height of human knowledge and were important models for a new age. The Renaissance or rebirth of learning began in Europe in the 14th century and reached its height in the 15th century. Scholars became more interested in the humanist features, that is, the secular or worldly rather than the religious aspects of the Greek and Latin ages. Humanist educators designed teaching methods to prepare well-rounded, liberally educated persons. Desiderius Erasmus was particularly influential and believed that understanding and conversing about the meaning of literature was more important than memorizing it, as had been required at many of the medieval religious schools. New educational goals. Education during the Renaissance period emphasized such humanistic disciplines as history, poetry, and ethics. The invention of in the mid-15th century made books more widely available or increased literacy rates, but school attendance did not increase greatly during the Renaissance. Elementary schools educated middle-class children while lower-class children received little, if any, formal schooling. Children of nobility and upper classes attended humanist secondary schools. Educational opportunities for women improved slightly during Renaissance, especially for the upper classes. Some girls from the wealthy families attended schools of the royal court or received private lessons at home. The curriculum studied by young women was still based on the belief that only certain subjects such as art, music, needlework, dancing, and poetry were suited for females. For working-class girls, especially rural peasants, education was still limited to training in household duties such as cooking and sewing. And now the historico-legal foundation of education, modern, contemporary period. It was believed that historical foundation of modern times education started between 1300 to 1700 years. René Descartes laid the foundation for the modern period and rationalism. I think, therefore I am. Reason is supreme, the laws of nature are invariable, truth can be verified empirically. Frederick the Great, leader of Prussia, friend of Voltaire, interested in better training for teachers. Education in the modern period is signified by many developments. With the advent of the British rule, there were many developments taking place in the system of education. Through the system of education was more developed in urban areas as compared to rural areas. During this period, there were introduction of subjects such as arts, sciences, philosophy, and literature. During the modern era, primary education was not much considered. During this period, the system of education was developed to take into consideration the needs and requirements of the individuals. The individuals who acquired this explanation were able to sustain their living in an appropriate manner. The education which is taught in the school today is the modern education. Modern education teaches about the skills required today, that is the skills of science and technology, science of medical science, and etc. In addition to listening, the modern education includes writing, visualizing, imagining, and thinking skills. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching.